Hey, I wanted to go over something with you. Dad's out of town for a couple months, so somebody's got to take in charge. I was thinking I take both the intro and the outro.
I was thinking actually I take the intro and the outro, and maybe I'll let you do your segment first this time.
When your name's on the wall, we can let you go first. How does that sound?
Why don't you just introduce everyone to the next episode of Locked and Loaded? It's not that hard. And as far as who goes first, just flip a freaking coin.
We really gonna let the guy in jeans make decisions for us?
No, because I'm going first.
From my father developing the first self-storage facility in the state of Virginia back in 1973 to becoming a trusted industry leader 4 decades later. Here at the Nicholson Companies, we've seen firsthand the changes and challenges in an industry now valued at over $40 billion. And with as many locations as corporate giants, Starbucks, McDonald's, and Subway combined. So now, with the help of Scott, Camille, and my son Edward, we're breaking industry stereotypes and sharing our knowledge, expertise, and yes, sometimes a little humor with our fellow self-storage operators to help you thrive in today's competitive self-storage industry. I'm Tom Nicholson, and this is Locked and Loaded.
Hit me, baby, one more time. Oh, we're doing this now? In our last episode, I reviewed the drivers of the transition to remote management. Today, I'd like to talk about staffing considerations for a remotely managed location. There are 3 critical areas that must always be addressed that are usually handled by an on-site manager. These are going to be handling rental inquiries, providing customer service, and monitoring the physical condition of the site. Rental inquiries and customer service interactions are typically triggered by a phone call, email, chat, QR code, or some other method, and someone must respond to these in a timely manner. Let's start with handling rental inquiries. In a remote setting, without an on-site manager, the most basic approach is a do-it-yourself model. There's many obvious downsides to this approach, such as the person not being highly skilled at closing sales or not having constant availability to take calls. A more effective approach is to engage a call center. Call center operatives are specifically trained to address all aspects of the sales process, including handling leads that come in via phone, email, chat, or even video chat, and then controlling the call and closing the rental. Utilizing a call center even gives a remote site an advantage over a staff location, because while the on-site staff may not be able to get an incoming call because they have a customer in front of them or they're out on the property, the call center covering the remote site is always available. Now that the decision has been made to move sales services to an off-site location, the customer service function can also be handled this way. However, the training and skill set required for the complete replacement of an on-site manager's customer service activities are very different from those of an operative focusing on selling. Each hub manager, as we refer to them, must also be professionally trained to handle processing rental agreements, rate increases, and to originate outbound calls to deal with collections. This requires an individual who is well-versed in site operations, is prepared to address inbound inquiries that come in regarding payments, receivables, auctions, and other account problems, gate access issues, and all other customer needs and complaints. To summarize, this individual should generally be more fluent on the property specifics and essentially be able to perform every task that an on-site manager performs at a staff location that doesn't require leaving the site office. For these reasons, using sales center operatives to also perform the customer service role is clearly not the best approach. Hub centers, like this one, may look a bit like a call or sales center, but because of the unique skill set required, we found that experienced site managers actually make the best hub managers. Add to that the multitasking required to oversee multiple locations, and you find that only the best site managers make the grade to move in from the field to become a hub manager. So now, how do we monitor the physical condition of the site? Well, we refer to that person as the Facility Service Associate, or FSA. Some operators just refer to the employee as the boots on the ground. This can be a part-time employee, and their hours can be flexible. The amount of time they need to spend at the facility and number of visits will typically depend on the size of the site. Smaller facilities may only need 1 visit per week, while others could require multiple if there's frequent activity. The FSA will prepare vacated units for re-rental, handle keeping the property clean, perform light maintenance, check for abandoned items or units, assign or remove overlocks, perform a space audit, and generally police the property at regular intervals. Any significant maintenance issues discovered can then be reported to the owner or management personnel. In short, the FSA performs all the tasks that would normally be performed by an on-site manager that required leaving the office at a fully staffed location. It's important to convey to skeptical customers that there is still an employee coming on site and focusing their attention solely on ensuring the property is well maintained. In fact, the remote management staffing structure in general allows you to keep your aces in their places and keep operations running smoothly. We also find that employees tend to be happier doing the parts of the job they actually enjoy and are good at, instead of expecting them to do it all like an on-site manager must do. All right, that about sums it up when it comes to staffing considerations for a remote managed site, but I gotta get back to doing what I do best, so see ya. Thank you for calling 4A Self Storage. This is Camille speaking. How can I help you?
Today, we're going to start diving into revenue management, a critical but often unutilized strategy to optimize pricing, boost occupancy, and maximize profitability that can drive real results in your self-storage business. Essentially, revenue management is the strategic use of data and technology to guide unit pricing, discounts, and rate increases based on supply and demand and local competition. It can be broken down into two broad categories: managing pricing and offers to new customers, and maximizing revenue from your existing customers. Today, I'm going to focus on the front end of revenue management, managing pricing to new customers. Pricing isn't just about setting a price for each size unit anymore. Not all units, even within a specific unit class, are created equal. Each and every unit on your site must be physically inspected to evaluate its attributes, to determine its true value compared to the other units in its class at your site. The attributes I'm talking about tend to fall into the following two categories. Positive. Positive attributes are features that would typically allow a facility to charge more for a given unit and include examples such as units that are close to the elevator, maybe they have oversized or multiple doors, or maybe a unit that has electricity available in the unit. Negative. Negative attributes are features that would drive down the price of a given unit, and examples would be units with awkward access, non-standard shapes, small doors, maybe an obstruction in the unit, such as a pole. Each attribute should be assigned a negative or positive point value. Then the total blended score for each unit will determine what the price adjustment from your base street rate should be. The goal for units with an overall positive attribute score should be to maximize revenue by bringing in a premium price. The goal for units with net negative attributes is to get the unit rented. I get that many facility owners have high occupancy and are probably wondering to themselves, why would I ever put a discount in when my facility is mostly full? The reality is, unless you're 100% full, there's probably a reason you have some empty units, and it's always helpful to give those remaining units a push out the door. When this job is complete, the gross potential revenue for your site should be higher than before, assuming you did it correctly. If this sounds like a time-consuming process, to be honest, it is, particularly on a large facility, but bear in mind that these attributes rarely change, so it only has to be done once, then you're set. By the way, the best way to display these pricing tiers on your website is using terms such as good, better, and best. You want a clear understanding for the customers about the value of each relative unit and why. The next step is to set the parameters in your revenue management software and establish when to adjust pricing and specials based on supply and demand, then closely monitor unit availability at your location. This is where technology really shines, and a good revenue management software will allow you to customize your pricing adjustment parameters, monitor your inventory continuously, and will automatically adjust your available rates up or down immediately as your available inventory changes. The final piece in the pricing puzzle is monitoring what your competition is doing. Competitor manipulation of pricing and specials today is robust and constant, and you should be checking competitor pricing daily, not monthly or quarterly as in the past. Powerful revenue management tools are available to individual mom-and-pop operators on the open market, unlike years ago when the only operators doing sophisticated revenue management were the REITs and for the most part, larger regional management companies. Not saying everyone in the market is using these tools, but the number is growing by the day, so I highly recommend you function as if everyone is as sophisticated as you are. Fortunately, there are several subscription-style services that are available today that will do this for you, giving you a competitive edge. A quick word about specials. This is something that seems like a minor difference, but I don't feel like it's being talked about enough. Specials generally fall into two categories: expiring and non-expiring. A non-expiring special is exactly what it sounds like, a rate that doesn't automatically drop off after a certain amount of time. Rate matching is the most common form of non-expiring special that we see. An expiring discount, on the other hand, is a discount that has a built-in expiration date after which the rent returns to full price. The problem with non-expiring specials specifically is that they don't expire without operator intervention and can get lost in the database of a large or even sometimes a small site, and the unit remains at below market rates indefinitely. In general, front-loaded expiring specials are the way to go, and price matching should only be a last resort to avoid losing a rental. At the end of the day, do bear in mind that price matching is an accepted practice, but that if you must price match, do it smartly. Keep it to a small radius, 3 to 5 miles max. You want to limit the discount percentage. You don't want to give a giant discount just because someone walked in and said the people across the street are doing it. Use this tactic only for walk-ins or when occupancy dips. Price matching makes sense when occupancy is hurting, but it sometimes makes more sense to lose a customer than to give out a huge discount when your facility is full. Some parts of revenue management require a small amount of critical thinking. Every operator should be watching demand trends in their market. It's easy to check competitors' prices and reassure yourself that your prices are below theirs. That being said, if units are sitting vacant, despite competitive pricing, there may be an oversupply issue. On the flip side, high reservation rates are a good thing, but they may signal opportunities to push rates higher. Seasonality, factors such as summer moves or year-end storage, can affect demand. Build seasonal flexibility into your rate strategy. Also, consider differentiating rates between walk-ins and reservations. Walk-ins are often willing to pay more for convenience. Here are a few customization tactics that may move the needle. Show strike-through pricing on your website to highlight discounts. Consider allowing managers to override rates to close a sale in person while still checking behind them to ensure they aren't going overboard with excessive discounting. Also, you may want to equip your teams with real-time competitor data to negotiate effectively. Here's your quick recap. Use market data, not gut instinct. Treat every unit as unique. Value pricing matters. Automate specials based on occupancy. You want to review your competitor pricing as often as possible, daily if possible. Stay flexible with seasonality and demand, and customize your tools and empower your team. All right, guys, thanks for joining me and listening to my talk on revenue management. It seems like a small part of your business, but I assure you it's critically important and it will put money in your pocket. That actually brings us to the end of our time today. So other than our ending, I'm done for the day. What is our ending today? Does anyone have a plan for this? As everyone may have noticed, Dad's out of town this month, and he's going to be out of town for another month too. So guess who's in charge? Ed?
Yes, I'm in charge. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Locked and Loaded. I'm Camille Broom, and I'm in charge since Tom's out of town. Right, Ed? Ed?
Huh? All right, everyone, since Dad's on vacation, we compromised, and it falls to both of us to do the outro.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Locked and Loaded. We'll see you next time.